my name's Martin. I'm a game designer slash sound designer slash musician, I guess. And I'm one of two people on the Queue Up soundtrack team. The other being my friend Connor. Go ahead.
Hi, what's going on? I am Connor, and or my artist name is Blue Cayman, and I am the other half of the soundtrack team.
Heck yeah.
Sound design team.
Team in quotes.
Tell me about the team. How do you both know each other? It's an original soundtrack composed by the two of you. Seems very much in step with each other. So what's the backstory?
Yeah, so game is for me and three other developers, Frank Lance and his son James Lance, and then this guy Johan van Hoof is from Iceland, and I was kind of tasked with doing all the audio for the game, and I had a ton of work, and so I just as I normally do when I'm feeling strapped about some music stuff, I texted Connor, who's like my best friend and also much more musically inclined than I am. Like I'm definitely a producer, but he's much more like classically trained and stuff, and so I hit him up to like help me out with one of the songs, but then it just felt like a natural collaboration, and yeah, we just kind of ran with like he I feel like D&B, I mean, and Connor, you can speak to this a bit for sure, like D&B is not really what you normally produce, but I feel like you really took it in step and just kind of like ran with my inspiration, stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, I think that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and we've known each other since we were both like 5. Like we grew up together and everything too. So we've worked on a couple things together in the past, and also just making stuff together for fun and but yeah, no, I definitely was excited to do it when he hit me up, because this is not usually like the type of stuff that I make. It's usually like I guess I started doing mostly like hip hop and like making beats, and then like I've dabbled in like some sort of EDM, like some house, and then really anything else indie. But never really breakcore or D&B or any of this sort of stuff. I've listened to a good amount of it, or not a good. I guess now I've listened to a good amount of it since we started the project. But,
sure. Do your research and all that.
Yeah, definitely did a lot of research, and Martin made like put together a whole playlist where he's like, yo, check this out, this is kind of the vibe I'm going for, so I got familiar that way, and then it was definitely a lot of learning, and it was really fun. But yeah,
what was on that playlist? Like, Martin, what were you suggesting? What's some of this inspiration behind Queue Up?
Yeah, totally. So there's because this game is kind of odd, as you know, and for a while I was kind of like rocking my brain trying to figure out like what I felt like the sonic identity, even for the sound effects and the sound, all of this, how it fits together. Right. And then one day I was just like, what if it was just a jungle sound? Like, what if it was just jungle or breakcore? Whatever, all these words that are semi-interchangeable these days. And then I found this song by this guy Daniel Avery.
Okay.
That's called Devotion. It's like this really like dark breakcore D&B song that's just like. But the thing that drew me to it was that it sounds like these drums are being like reverberated in this huge warehouse, and it kind of reminded me of what the flip chamber in the game looks like. I just kind of closed my eyes and imagined myself in that space, and that it felt like that was exactly what I wanted for the soundtrack. And then I just kind of filled up the rest of the place with like some Aphex stuff, a bit of shuffle scene, which is like very dark, moody D&B stuff or adjacent, Machine Girl, some Sewer Slut stuff, some Tokyo Pill stuff, just stuff that I like, but also stuff that I feel like, again, if I close my eyes and imagine myself in the game, what matches the aesthetic. But yeah, it was mainly that one song, Devotion by Daniel Avery. I feel like that was like my North Star for like me and Connor to try and work towards musically.
That song was definitely like an interesting jumping off point for me as well, because it's very like vibe based, and less like, oh, we gotta like make sure like the kick is coming through clear, and like we gotta make sure everything's like it's very like grimy. Yeah. And so like that was definitely like a big inspiration was taken from that, and like there's like a lot of reverb like on the drums and on just kind of, it's like very much like it kind of puts you in a space, so that's also kind of helped us, figure out what sort of vibe
Yeah.
we're trying to go for.
Connor, how do you approach that as Martin said, like more of a classically trained musician, and translating that into making your version of a breakbeat type soundtrack? Like what was your mindset trying to write this stuff?
It definitely was a lot of trial and error. And Martin sent me that song and was like, yeah, I'm kind of going for this sort of vibe. And then I was just like, okay. And I like sent him some pads and like some sort of like rough melody. I'm like, is this kind of like the sort of like dark vibe you're going for? And I was like, all right, here's like a drum sketch, which basically ended up just being the final drums. I mean, there was definitely a lot of like alternate mixes and stuff.
Sure.
But, like it was definitely like a lot of us sending stuff back and forth with each other and being like, does this fit? Does this not fit? And there was definitely stuff where it was like, this sounds cool, but it's not really the vibe. Or like, oh yeah, that's perfect. Keep going with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was definitely good. Really helped me to get a lot of feedback in that way too, especially because like, I think sometimes I'll fall back into like my standard, like I have like a sound that I really like sometimes where it's like, I just tend to, when I'm making stuff, it tends to just go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's not the direction that's needed for like a project with like, okay, make what you like, but also make it, fit in.
Sure.
So, yeah, it was a challenge in that way, but it was also like a really fun, challenge, to like,
mm-hmm.
Push myself to be like, okay, let me make something that doesn't sound the way that, my stuff usually sounds. And I mean, some of it is kind of more down the lane of the stuff that I usually do, but some of it is very different.
Yeah.
And also just, I'm definitely one of those dudes that gets really obsessed with like, I gotta like make sure that this mix is gonna sound exactly the way I want it, or I gotta make sure that, this is cutting through the exact way. But Martin definitely helped be like, I think that this really sounds good. Like, just stick with this.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, like, your brain's telling you something different, but, like, this is, like, a good vibe. Like, the team likes this. I like this, that sort of stuff. So it kind of helped me get out of my head a little bit.
Sure. I'd love to get in the weeds on some of these tracks, too, because I think they all do have really great sound quality to them, which is something that helps them so much when there are, more minimalistic in terms of the layers, which I think is like one of the strengths of this kind of jungle music. So talk me through maybe one of these tracks. I love Shibuya, personally.
Yeah, I think Shibuya, I think, was one of the more actually straightforward ones. Where that was mostly just Connor like running with the idea that was solid from the get-go. I don't think we did much to that, honestly. Mm-hmm. I don't even think there was that much collaboration there. Was there, Connor? You just kind of
not really. That was mainly. I think I was like working on a different one that was really giving me a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, before I went to bed, I was like, man, like let me just see if I can get another idea out. And then that idea was like, again, like I tweaked some stuff, but the main basis of that just ended up being it. It just kind of really worked out well. And I wasn't actually sure if it was going to fit like all that much. And I sent it to Martin. I was like, I don't know. This is a little bit, it's more, and it wasn't as grimy sounding. It was more like,
it's got a little bit of that brighter synthy texture.
Yeah. And I think it was sample based. Like, I think I made, like, I'll put down like, some MIDI, like some, I don't remember what all the instruments were, but it was like, I'll put down like, I'll make a sample, quote unquote, where I'll like, just write some stuff out. And I think I recorded, no, that was a different one, but I definitely like put in some vocals and wrote out some key stuff. And then I would just chop it. And that's kind of that main melodic element is that.
Sure.
And then I just chopped up some drum breaks and threw it on. I was just like, what do you think of this? And he was like, oh dude, like this is one of my favorite ones so far, like go with it. So that was that one. So that one actually did come together pretty quickly.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I think like kind of what Connor was talking about earlier, where like where some of his own influence like seeped in. That is definitely one of the tracks that is more like him, like his like type of vibe.
Yeah.
Which I think was I ended up really enjoying that. Like, we do have this D&B flavor, but it is kind of more melodic in a way, and that's definitely his influence, which I think is I really ended up being a big fan of. I think another track that's really interesting is the story behind it, In the Weeds, is Warehouse.
Oh yeah.
That one's funny because like we went back and forth on the drums so many times, and like on this one I remember like the original drums, I love the original drums, and then Connor changed them, like not just like the entire thing, just changed the full drums, and I was like, nah, like we got to go back to the original ones. Like these are so great, and like I think something that I think I preached a lot, like kind of directing this project, was just, I don't know, just keeping it simple and like just trusting my instincts and my gut. And it's like if it's hitting for me, then I'm not like, I don't want to make that many adjustments. Like I don't want to over refine the tracks. Like, I think a lot of one of the things that I appreciate about like D&B overall the genre is that a lot of the tracks are extremely simple. There's like 3 or 4 layers. It's very repetitive, but because there's so much refinement on the core elements, like you don't have to do too much on them. So I think Warehouse was funny because like it was one of those things where you got to just be like, at least I felt like I was kind of being annoying about it, but in the end I think it benefited from it, where just like I think the end result drums are just amazing, and I wouldn't change them.
No, it's a phenomenal track.
That is also that was the first one that we did. That was like the one where like, you know, he sent me the like, you know, that main reference track and then some, you know, other ones, and I kind of shot something back like, is this kind of what you're going for? And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm pretty sure those drums, I think, because it was like it was just me like dabbling in D&B. I think it's an amen break. I think it's the amen break, and I just like put a huge gate on it to like make it a little bit more choppy and less, you know, but I put a lot of effects on it because I was like really trying to just get it grimy or whatever. And then it's added, you know, I added a different snare and a different kick, and then maybe some other stuff. But I definitely remember like sending him a different version, like maybe the next day or 2 days later, and I was like, okay, here's one where the drums don't sound bad. Like, you know, I think this is way better. He just like, oh, I don't want to be that guy with those first drums I loved, and I was like, okay, you're right. I mean, but
it's that back and forth, yeah,
I think it came out better that way too. So.
Sure. Another track question: what made the team pick Pluto for this? Was that more on the development side, or for the trailer, I should say? Pick Pluto for the trailer. Was that more on the development side? And you made an alt version for the trailer specifically, with a couple extra sound effects and all that in there. So what was behind that?
Yeah, so that this is actually a pretty funny answer. That was almost purely practical. Like the reason why, so the Pluto, the trailer version, was because someone on the Steam forums was asking, like I don't know what the ordering was, but basically someone wanted the version that was in the trailer specifically, even though that was basically a demo version of the track, because I hadn't even, like, at that time at that time the soundtrack didn't even exist yet. Like Connor hadn't done any of the track. Like we just had Pluto, and that was basically it. The finished track is like, that is meant to be the finished track. The trailer version is just like what I would just describe as a crappy demo.
Right. But the trailer version came first. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So that was purely just like a practical choice, where I just needed something for the trailer, and also just to try and get my head around the vibe, I think. And I think Connor and I were both developing these other tracks separately, but they weren't ready yet. And so Pluto was just kind of the first. Yeah. That was the very first track, I think.
And Pluto was all you. Pluto was all you that you made. Because I remember getting off work, and he had sent me like a demo of, he's like, okay, like I got one too, and I played it in the car, and I was like, yo, it sounded so sick.
It just took me so long to figure it out. Like I was really like upset with like how many demos I went through to try and find like with the right vibe, and so I think like that was the first breakthrough track. I think that's kind of where it ended up, but it was very early in the process, so that's why it was picked for the trailer and everything.
Sure. I'd also love to hear the story behind the alternate version of Rio that I think plays at the moment in the game when you're having one of the few actual like story beats and cutscenes. What was the production of that track like? Because it's obviously very ambient and totally different.
Yeah, totally. So that's another one from me, because it's basically an extension of the lobby sound. I don't know if that's clear and obvious, but it's essentially just a pulse stretch version of the pulse stretch is just to for people who don't know, is a ambient plugin that is very well known amongst ambient people. Who basically the algorithm is very good for slowing down tracks to a significant degree, and it basically just makes any track sound spacey and nice. And so I tried it on the lobby music, thinking it wouldn't work very well, and it ended up being really pleasant. And also on the about screen in the game, when you click the about screen, the lobby music also transitions into a Paul Stretch version. It's slightly different than the version you get for that cutscene that you're describing, but it's basically the same. The cutscene one is a little bit pitched down to make it sound a little more like spooky.
Sure.
But yeah, I you know, I don't know. I have my own feelings about the lobby music, kind of, because maybe I'm just tired of how it sounds, because I've heard it.
You do listen to it for like half of the time you're playing the game, which is I think kind of the point of Q-Up's gameplay flow in a way.
Yeah, definitely. But I just found that I didn't put enough. You know, like, it's too repetitive, I think. And so I think one of the things we're actually going to address in the update, hopefully it comes out in the next couple of weeks, is I'm going to put some variation in that song so that it's a little less monotonous. Because, like you said, I didn't really think about how soundtrack's great, but there's only one lobby sound, and you listen to that like 80% of the time you're playing.
2 more questions for you. One, what's in the water with drum and bass in video games these days? Like, Neon White, Q-Up comes out, there's drum and bass tracks in like Star Vaders this year. There's so many games that have sick drum and bass right now. It's having a moment. What do you think's behind that as the people that are part of that moment?
I mean, I want to hear Connor's perspective on this, because I think he's a little bit more outside on this than I am. But I feel like for me, it's like, maybe it's just a function of time, where like everyone who grew up in that era of music is now like making video games and wants them back. I mean, that's one answer to that. Neon White is, you know, I feel very flattered to be in the same sentence as Neon White, because like that's Machine Girl, right? And like that, I mean, that's soundtrack is phenomenal. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think it's just like, I mean, for me, it was just like I didn't know where else to turn. Like, I was just like, I don't know what music this makes sense for this game. So I'm just gonna do what I know best, and I'm just gonna make some good like electronic music, whether it's something more melodic or like Shibuya, or something more hard like Pluto or Turbo, more drum and bassy. But yeah, Connor, I'd love to hear what your perspective is on this, because I mean, you're like a racing games guy, kind of. So you're kind of more in the housey, jazzy side of this.
Very core.
I played a lot of Gran Turismo with my dad growing up, and so there was definitely a lot of drum and bass, and I don't even know if you could call it, like, I guess it is, but it's definitely in that vein. And another thing, I love like the Ape Escape music. There's a lot of drum and bass in that, for sure. But I think, I mean, it's kind of a nostalgic thing. I think that it draws people to it, and I know that just in general, a lot of my favorite games are games that I love the music in, and that will like keep me coming back to the game, because it, you know, it definitely provides like a mood. You know, it's like, you know, when you can tell there was a lot of, you know, thought and effort put into the music of the game. I think it really kind of helps immerse you too. Like, you know, when in the game, in the Q-Up gameplay, there's like, you know, when all the nodes are going off and there's like a lot of like boop, bop, 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 we kind of wanted something to like match that vibe of like, you know, you want it to be fast paced and exciting and stuff. And especially like, you know, there's a lot of visuals going on. You kind of wanted some upbeat music to, you know, kind of match that. So that was part of the reason for like creating, it's not like I wouldn't say it's like a particularly like busy genre of music, but it's definitely like high energy. And like, you know, we wanted to have that with Rio in like the menu. It's very like ambient and chill and relaxed. And like, I remember Martin telling me like, okay, like we want it to be kind of like the menu is like the town per se, you know, and then like when you go out like into a match, it's like the battle stage or whatever. So like, you know, you want some, you know, fast paced, high energy, you know, a lot of cymbals and stuff, drums. And then when you come back, it's like, okay, I'm out of the battle. I'm back in this like chill thing, and I can upgrade my tree and everything. So, or upgrade my nodes. Yeah. So that was part of the thing too. You want it to be real hectic during the matches, and then, you know, you kind of fall back into the chill vibe.
Yeah, cool. I think you definitely get that while you're playing the game, for sure. It's a great back and forth. I think it's so interesting to think about a game that says in its trailer, this is a game with no gameplay, and to still feel like the music is really fitting to the gameplay. I think it's so successful.
Awesome. Thank you.
That I think like that joke is very tongue in cheek, I think. That's a James Frank Lance classic right there.
Last question, easy one. What are you both listening to right now? What's in your ears?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, Secret Liaison by Source Direct. Do you know RamonPang?
Doesn't ring a bell. No, sorry.
RamonPang is no worries. He's like this like smaller content creator that it, like does a lot of like really good content on like electronic music, and he did this great set recently where he was like, it's like this, I forget what the set is, like the channel is called, but they basically just do like sets where they're like the people are driving the car and he's mixing in the backseat. It's really sick. But he did this mix, and I found a song from that mix called Secret Liaison, which is a very well-known song. I just didn't know about it, and it's amazing. So I just go to that on YouTube, and then I just shuffle like a playlist of stuff that comes after it, and it's all great. So that's what I've been listening to.
Sweet.
I mean, I'm usually pretty all over the place, but right now, I guess I'm listening to. I mean, I'm definitely listening to more of the Fly Wrench soundtrack, because we were listening to that like when we were making it, because it's another game famous for its soundtrack, and like there's definitely some good like drum bass elements in there too. But then I'm also like a good amount of like R&B sort of stuff. Like I'm listening to a lot of like D'Angelo, Erykah Badu, and then like Snow Strippers and The Help, which is kind of like they're kind of like I don't even know what you call it. It's like sleazecore or something, but it's kind of into that like it's kind of like dirty club music, but it's also very melodic, which tends to be what I gravitate to. So yeah, that sort of stuff. And then a lot of like indie stuff. I'm listening to a lot of Joe, who is the dude from Stranger Things, and he makes music right now. And he's a Steve from Stranger Things, and he makes like indie rock music or whatever. But it's so good, and I've been obsessed with that album too.
This is amazing. Yeah, that's going straight to the top of my list to listen to. Absolutely,
yeah,
I did not know that.
Good. It's really good. The album, the new album, The Crux, is the new album.
Okay. Okay. Anything else that either of you want to put out there about Q Up and the process of the music behind it?
I mean, we haven't had a chance to really collaborate professionally like that much, I'd say. So I think it was just super. I had a blast, and also like I was just so busy because I do the UI and everything on the game as well. So Connor really saved my ass. Like I was really just like, I didn't think I was going to have time to do a soundtrack that people enjoy, but it's a big part of my process, like making sure the sound in the games that I work on is top tier and people enjoy. So I think I was just really happy and proud of what we ended up creating. I think and a ton of that is attributed to him, because like I came up with the inspiration, but he really put in the work on the actual tracks. I think like a lot of the majority of the work was on his shoulders, and it definitely shows really well. So I'm just grateful for him and just happy that it came out so well. It was a really fun process overall, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say I feel the same. I'm just happy to be a part of it. When he hit me up, like, hey, can you help with the soundtrack? I was like, dude, like I was just doing it for the love of the game at first. Then it became a more like official thing. So I was just really hyped to be part of that, and to to branch out into new sounds, and have like a new set of inspiration to pull from, and push myself. And of course, yeah, to be able to work with Martin on something officially is pretty sick, because we're very close friends, and so that also kind of made the process easier, because we're just it's very easy to be honest, and we're texting all the time anyway, so it was nice to be working together in that regard. And then I love the way it came out. I love the reception to the game and to the soundtrack too. It was cool also that when we released, or when the Q Up team released the demo, it was all like demo tracks, which was I think most of them were 16 bars, just basically looped, and it was pretty raw. It was all the ideas or whatever, but we had them in there, and people loved the demo versions as well. So we released that version with just the demos on Bandcamp too, and then that got a good reception, and then we got a good reception releasing the other one. It's just really nice to see people really loving the music, and that's just, it means the world. So
okay, great. Where can people find you and what you're doing next?
people can find the OST actually finally is out on streaming. I think came out like on the 1st, so it's been about a week, but that's been a long time coming. So it's just called Queue Up Original Soundtrack. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. If you want to support Connor and I, we split the proceeds for the one on Bandcamp. So if you want to, it's $5. I think that's a steal for it personally. So there's that. For me personally, what am I doing next? Connor and I have talked about just, maybe he'll visit New York and we'll just jam on a soundtrack. But other than that, I'm just trying to figure out what's next in this post Queue Up era. It's definitely some music, but other than that, I don't have much to report on.
Sure.
And I guess you can find the soundtrack. My name's on that, Blue Cayman on Spotify, and then kariomart on Spotify. And then I'm on Instagram, Blue Cayman Beats. I'm not very active on Instagram right now, but I'm hoping to get back into it. And, I'm working on a lot of music myself. And then, like I said, we both grew up together in Boston. But so when I visit family or whatever, I try to, make it out to New York and, hop on a bus and go, holler at Martin, and we might, jam on some stuff together up there. And because it was just such a fun time working together like this on this type of music specifically too. And I was like right after we released the soundtrack, I was like, let's keep it going. Let's do another one. I was like, I want to make another game or another soundtrack or an EP or whatever, because we were just riding high off of it. So we'll try to ride this out and hopefully some more stuff soon. Yeah.
Well, if that EP happens, I will definitely be listening. Thank you both so much for your time this evening. I really appreciate it. Amazing.
Great. Thank you so much for all the interest and everything, and the questions were great. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Really nice.